absolute value. The absolute value of a number n, denoted absolute value of n, is the distance between n and 0 on the real number line. For example, the absolute value of 4 is 4. Means, what is the distance between 4 and 0 on the real number line? 1, 2, 3, 4. Also, the absolute value of -4 is 4. What is the distance between -4 and 0 on the real number line? 1, 2, 3, 4. مثال: بسط مطلق 13 ناقص مطلق -2. Example: simplify absolute value of 13 minus the absolute value of -2. The absolute value of 13 is 13, and the absolute value of -2 is 2. So the absolute value of 13 minus the absolute value of -2 will be equals to 13 minus 2, which is equals to 11. Solving equations of the form absolute value of x equals a. If a is a positive number, then the absolute value of x equals a is equivalent to x equals a or x equals -a. If a is a negative number, then the absolute value of x equals a. This equation has no solution. If a is 0, then the absolute value of x equals a is equivalent to x equals 0. مثال: أوجد قيمة x للمعادلة مطلق x يساوي 4. Example: solve the equation absolute value of x equals 4. The absolute value equation has two solutions: x equals 4 or x equals -4. مثال: أوجد قيمة x للمعادلة مطلق x يساوي -12. Example: solve the equation absolute value of x equals -12. This absolute value equation has no solution because the absolute value can never be equal to a negative number. مثال: أوجد قيمة x لمطلق x زائد 1 يساوي 5. Example: solve absolute value of x plus 1 equals to 5. The absolute value of x plus 1 equals to 5 is equivalent to x plus 1 equals to 5 or x plus 1 equals to -5. Solve each equation separately. X plus 1 equals to 5. Move 1 to the other side of the equal sign. We will have x equals 5 minus 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. We will have x equals to 4. Now solve the other equation. X plus 1 equals -5. Move 1 to the other side of the equal sign. We will have x equals -5 minus 1. -5 minus 1 is -6. So we will have x equals to -6. To check your answer, substitute 4 for x. We will have the absolute value of 4 plus 1. Is it equal to 5? 4 plus 1 is 5. So the absolute value of 5, is it equal to 5? Absolute value of 5 is 5, and 5 equals to 5. Now check when x equals to negative 6. Substitute negative 6 for x. We will have the absolute value of negative 6 plus 1. Is it equal to 5? Negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5. So we will have the absolute value of negative 5. Is it equal to 5? The absolute value of negative 5 is 5. And 5 equals to 5. مثال: أوجد قيمة x للمعادلة مطلق 5x ناقص 3 زائد 8 يساوي 6. Example: solve the equation absolute value of 5x minus 3 plus 8 equals to 6. To solve the equation absolute value of 5x minus 3 plus 8 equals to 6, move 8 to the other side of the equals sign. We will have absolute value of 5x minus 3 equals to 6 minus 8. 6 minus 8 is negative 2. We will have absolute value of 5x minus 3 equals to negative 2. This absolute value equation has no solution because the absolute value can never equal to a negative number. مثال: أوجد قيمة x لمطلق 5x ناقص 3 زائد 8 يساوي 22. Example: solve absolute value of 5x minus 3 plus 8 equals 22. To solve absolute value of 5x minus 3 plus 8 equals 22, move 8 to the other side of the equal sign. We will have absolute value of 5x minus 3 equals 22 minus 8. 22 minus 8 is 14. We will have absolute value of 5x minus 3 equals 14. Absolute value of 5x minus 3 equals 14 is equivalent to 5x minus 3 equals 14 or 5x minus 3 equals negative 14. Solve each equation separately. 5x minus 3 equals 14. Move negative 3 to the other side of the equal sign. We will have 5x equals 14 plus 3. 14 plus 3 is 17. We will have 5x equals to 17. Divide each side by 5. We will have x equals to 17 over 5. Now solve the other equation. 5x minus 3 equals negative 14. Move negative 3 to the other side of the equal sign. We will have 5x equals to negative 14 plus 3. Negative 14 plus 3 is negative 11. We will have 5x equals to negative 11. Divide each side by 5. We will have x equals negative 11 over 5. مثال: أوجد قيمة n لمطلق 5n زائد 3 يساوي 0. Example: solve absolute value of 5n plus 3 equals to 0. Absolute value of 5n plus 3 equals to 0 is equivalent to 5n plus 3 equals to 0. Move 3 to the other side of the equal sign. We will have 5n equals to negative 3. Divide each side by 5. We will have 5n over 5 equals to negative 3 over 5. Cancel 5 with 5. We will have n equals to negative 3 over 5. And the solution set is negative 3 over 5. مثال: أوجد قيمة x لمطلق 4x ناقص 12 يساوي سالب مطلق سالب 35. Example: solve absolute value of 4x minus 12 equals negative absolute value of negative 35. To solve absolute value of 4x minus 12 equals negative absolute value of negative 35, we need to find the absolute value of negative 35. And the absolute value of negative 35 is 35. We will have absolute value of 4x minus 12 equals to negative 35. This absolute value equation has no solution because the absolute value can never be equal to a negative number. مثال: أوجد قيمة x لمطلق x زائد 5 يساوي مطلق x زائد 11. Example: solve absolute value of x plus 5 equals absolute value of x plus 11. Absolute value of x plus 5 equals absolute value of x plus 11 is equivalent to x plus 5 equals negative times open parentheses x plus 11 close parentheses, or x plus 5 equals x plus 11. Solve each equation separately. X plus 5 equals negative times open parentheses x plus 11 close parentheses. Using the distributive property, multiply negative by x and multiply negative by 11. We will have x plus 5 equals negative x minus 11. Move 5 to the other side of the equal sign and move negative x to the other side of the equal sign. We will have x plus x equals negative 11 minus 5. X plus x is 2x. Negative 11 minus 5 is negative 16. We will have 2x equals negative 16. Divide each side by 2. We will have x equals negative 16 over 2, which is equals to negative 8. Now solve the other equation. X plus 5 equals x plus 11. Move 5 to the other side of the equal sign and move x to the other side of the equal sign. We will have x minus x equals 11 minus 5. X minus x is 0. 11 minus 5 is 6. We will have 0 equals 6. Since 0 is not equal to 6, this answer is rejected. And the equation has one solution, x equals negative 8.